Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hey, motherfucker, what you like to do?
Oh, I don't know. Play chess. Screw.
Well, let's play chess.
They give off to Jonathan Taylor. Jump cutting his way close to the goal line. He's in there. Touchdown. I-N-D-Y. Jonathan Taylor.
Wheeler finds Quan from the logo.
Here's Halliburton into the front court. Mishandled it, but gets a shot. Hits it. Hits it.
John, I have never been better to be on the air with you here in Indianapolis, a place where so many of my dreams have come true.
The Ride with JMV on 93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Hey, welcome in. What a gorgeous Monday it is outside. Thank you all for joining us. We have 3 days in studio and then 2 days on the road. Back to the District Tap coming up on Friday. And then Moran's Bar and Grill in Anderson. That is a tavern tour stop. I love opening a new place to the show. We have never been there. We will coming up on Thursday. Me and Brent Holverson, Tony Renz, Thursday, Moran's. Tell me a little bit more about that, too. If you're in Anderson or up in Madison County, that is our destination coming up on Thursday. So a lot to discuss, a busy weekend. Hope your weekend was fantastic. Mine absolutely was. I saw a lot of you, talked to a lot of you on Saturday night, which is always a good thing as well. It has simply put been absolutely outstanding. I have incredible news, and I am talking about a legendary performer that is coming not once but twice in the month of August to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. I have tickets for you to see Garth Brooks, not just today, but all week long. We got it for you here on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. And long ago, I explained to everybody at Live Nation, I said, here's the deal. I said, you guys bounce back and forth. Hey, we've got to make sure the country music artists are at the country music stations. And the same goes with the rock at the rock stations, pop at the pop stations. Here's what you got with this place and this show in particular. We hit every single demographic. Doesn't matter. Male, female, young, and old. We're going to cover everybody like a blanket. Now, it may not be always the content that everybody in unison will be interested in, but in and out all the time, you will get your message sent, no matter what the age group, no matter, again, what the genre of music. And I explained that. That goes all the way back to my days at Fall Creek Road. And we have been rolling, and they're always really good to us. And Garth Brooks tickets will come your way a little bit later on in the show. That starts a run all week long of Garth Brooks tickets for you. All right. I want to get to, it's weird, like Alex Golden, I think he's unavailable today of setting the pace. But I saw the article regarding LeBron James and the Steve Nash podcast together. LeBron James maybe offering up where he's going to end up. I know his rep, Rich Paul, is out there. LeBron's not chasing a ring. I think when you're a player like him, he unlocks something in all 30 teams. And evidently he's doing and unleashing the answer, but unleashing information. And Tyrese Halliburton's a part of it, which has, as a guest, which has led to speculation. I can't imagine. It would have to be for like a dime, I think. The Pacers just simply put don't have any money. But when you look at him, you know how good I would feel? And I know this is not going to happen. I'm not predicting this to happen whatsoever. And again, you can check out Alex's article on Setting the Pace. All it is this time of year fodder. It is Major League Baseball All-Star break, and really nobody has cared too much about Major League Baseball in general all season long, but it's All-Star break conversation. It's the middle of summer conversation. It really is. But wherever he lands, that's got to make that fan base feel really good. Because he's not going someplace just to mess around. He's not going someplace just to jack around. I would just say I'm chasing a ring. I'd be chasing a ring. You got all the money in the world. You have all the accolades ever in the history of your chosen profession of basketball. Hell yeah, I'd be chasing a ring. Add another one. Why wouldn't you? I think you could just come right out and say it. Like Conor McGregor on Saturday night. I know he got injured, but yeah, he got paid. You've already been paid. You're going to get paid after all this. You're absolutely made of money. So, what is it that you would like to maybe get one last legitimate run at doing? A ring. And I would agree, a player like him unlocks something in all 30 teams. Now, interest, there's no doubt about it. I'm not trying to sell you on this idea. It's the pipest of pipe dreams. But I thought I would bring it up because if I don't bring it up, somebody else, I guarantee you will. So that's that. I watched the Fever last night. That was an entertaining game. Now, in part, it was an entertaining game because they blew the doors off the Vegas Aces. This was like a two-part weekend. And you can still look around at those that consider themselves Fever fans. It is still absolutely crazy as hell. It still doesn't make everybody happy. If you can't be happy after that, if you're still wondering why Caitlin Clark doesn't get more attempts and why this offense is any good. Let me tell you this. An offense that puts up 109 points in a 109-75 win over Vegas, that's good. You can't hope for the worst because you feel it's going to lead to the best. As I've mentioned before, there are so many people out there that if she were to go out, Caitlin Clark, go out and knock down a couple of 30-footers, hell, 1 of 10, her fan base, a lot of it's going to be satisfied even with the Fever win. That's not how this works. And that's why I've said oftentimes you're going to find we have unearthed a level of nerdery in basketball fans we have never seen. If that is your role as a fan, you're really not a fan of hers. You're not acting in her best interest. You're sure as hell not acting in her best team's interest. Thus, you're not acting in her interest because, again, what matters the most, we're watching LeBron James right now. He's going to go find a team where he feels he's going to have a really solid, strong advantage to win. All right, so he's not chasing a ring. Whatever. But that's exactly what he's doing. The ultimate recognition comes with winning, not being 1 of 10 from 35 feet from the basket. Nice, pretty pocket bounce passes are awesome when they lead to a team win. The accolades will flourish. Your greatness will be described if your team has the expected high level of results. That's it. You don't want to be just your average, hey, I'm really a good player, but the team never wins. And that's what has always kind of been odd to me. Even last night, it's almost like it's kicking and screaming for some of these folks. And what really hurts the situation is a lot of these people just feel free to go right to social media and just, hey, we're nerds, we're dorks, and we don't care as long as she gets up 35 shots. Doesn't matter. Yeah, it does matter. Winning matters. And as you get older or less dorky, either one, you'll realize that even more. Winning will get, if you're her fan, hardcore fan, winning will get her where you ultimately believe she is right now or where you want her to go. That's it. And I'll give her credit. She doesn't get dragged into that crap. You guys all drag her into it. I don't know how she does it. I'll give her credit where credit is due. I don't know how you do it. You can just be kind of sitting around waiting for a game and all of a sudden crap happens. Somebody says something incredibly stupid. It's got to drive you nuts. 109.75. And again, if you can't be happy about that, you simply put can't be happy. There was all aspects were hit. What do they say? All the boxes were checked. I say they because I don't say that. Aaliyah Boston was awesome last night. I just love the way that you handle a team. And if you remember the last time we checked in with that Vegas team, by the way, Nick is in for James today. What is the name of the girl that they just let leave and go to Vegas? What's her name, Nick?
Oh, I had a total brain
what is
fart.
it?
I think
Passat?
it's, yeah, Passat,
Is that what it's
something like that, yeah.
It had 19 points. Was it on Saturday night? 19 points. Oh, my goodness. And again, there may be points in time. You don't want to let good players go. And we'll discuss that point with you further on. But here's what you have to remember about the WNBA. It's not the NBA. There is a wide gap, a wide berth in the NBA between, though. You can't just get up off the couch and go, hey, I think I'll go score 19 points in an NBA game. But we saw an Odyssey Sims a year ago. I mean, hell, she just got up off the couch and came here and was awesome. It is easy to do in that league. The gap is not as wide between the best players and there are a lot of players that aren't playing right now that are good. But she had 19, I think, in a lot of mop-up duty in her initial game there, and she was on the end of the fever bench, getting no clock, no PT whatsoever. She ends up going to Vegas, and the people go, I can't believe it. This may end up still being problematic if she's ever good again, but you watched last night in meaningful opportunities against her old team, she wasn't any good. But as I mentioned, it is significantly easier to bridge that gap in the WNBA than it is in other forms of basketball. It just is. Odyssey Sims, by the way, is a good player, and I always thought, man, I thought she was so good for the Fever a year ago. And he just got up off the couch. Yeah, I think I'm ready to play. And just started running at everybody. Famous getting up off the couch moments around here haven't gone so well. Kerry Collins didn't go well. He's on the couch playing his guitar in Nashville. Bill Pullen says, hey, after the Manning neck injury, we'll give you $4 million. You come in here and play quarterback, and I'm going to guarantee if you give up that $4 million, Jim Irsay, we're going to go to the postseason. And this guy should have stayed on his couch in Nashville playing the guitar because he was awful. Again, there's a wide gap, but in the WNBA, there are a lot of women players out there that are really good and could find a niche, but just are not given the opportunity. The gap certainly is not as wide. 109-75 was an impressive performance by the Fever last night. 14-9 on the season. And finally getting back home after 4 games on the road. That was uniquely fun. I'm going to give credit, too. I thought the NBC broadcast was fun, too. I like that. Golden State coming up on Wednesday. Golden State, Seattle, New York, and then Connecticut. All coming up. We'll be staked out downtown coming up on Friday. More information on that from the District tab. Yeah, BT with the shout right here. I saw LeBron at Giacomo's Pizza in Irvington today. Yes, that goes all the way back to the legendary Mike Ditka, Biff Ward buying a home. It is well done out of you, BT. I will say, I think it'd be great. Why wouldn't it be great? Even if it's not the same, and again, I'm not buying it. I'm not suggesting I'm buying it. I'm just bringing it up because others have brought it up. It's okay for me to bring it up, even if I don't believe it. However, it would have to make you feel damn good because he's only going to go someplace where there's legitimate opportunity. Come on. Is just a big coincidence with Halliburton. I will tell you this, because you know how big of a fan I am. Halliburton can make you and I better. He can make anybody better. And if I'm an older player, this is just me speaking in general terms right here. But if I'm an older player and I want a chance and I want to go someplace where I don't have to do all the heavy lifting, where I can just be made better by the most unique high-level performer in the NBA, that's exactly what Tyrese Halliburton is, the most unique. He is not the highest volume of scorer, of rebounder. He can certainly give you assists. He is not a dominant defensive player. What he is, he dominates in making everybody around him better. You want to know why Kevin Pritchard, Rick Carlisle, and Chad Buchanan want to keep this core together, why they believe in this core, and maybe why they believe in this core more than you do? It's because of him. Because of him. I'm going to break into a Rupert Holmes song routine in just a second if you're not careful. It is because of him. The most unique, elite level skill set in the NBA. I'm not saying most valuable player, but you look at his skill set, and his greatest attribute is making whomever is out there with him better. You want to know why there's going to be a significant belief in Ivica Zubac? A guy that's never really run the floor. Most people describe him as, oh, I can't wait to see this guy lumber up and down the floor. He'll make it work. That your belief, if it is solely on the shoulders of Zubac or Neesmith or Toppin, it's misguided. Now, we'll tell you, if there's any compromising injury, as we have witnessed, we're all screwed. If there's any compromising injury to him, we are all hosed. However, if all is right with him, you got to be a believer. I saw Rick Carlisle being, as a part of the Summer League, he's out there and, they're doing the interview with him. And he again mentioned, if you remember this team from the year before last, there are going to be some differences. I would buy that there will be differences, but I think you can also look at these differences as what this team has needed. It has never, ever been a good rebounding team. Now it should be a good rebounding team. It's never been, and not only has it not been a good offensive rebounding team, it has been an awful offensive rebounding team. That's some of the major differences and should be pluses. But believing in Halliburton is where all of this starts right here. So get back to my first point. Why would, other than monetarily speaking, of which the Pacers have none, why would you not want to play alongside somebody like that? Why would you not want to play alongside somebody that makes everybody better? Look at all the players he's made better. Look what he did for the former 33. Look what he did. Can you imagine the big, sorry, Nick, you may not like this. You're a very professional broadcaster. The massive turd burger that I would have eaten already had it not been for Tyrese Halliburton and his relationship with Miles Turner, because I was the consistent backer because nobody else did. But I got news for you. When they go to the 7th game of the NBA Finals, even with that massive disappearing act, and really outside of what, game number 1, he wasn't any good. He did help a team get to the NBA Finals in the 7th game of that. Thus, he had to have played well. He had to be somebody that was a positive attribute, and he was made that by Tyrese Halliburton. So, if you're a non-believer in the core, if you think they're just running it back to make it easy, or because they have really sensitive feelings about their guys, it is not about that. It is about belief, and it starts with their guy, the most unique, elite level skill set in the NBA. Tyrese Halliburton, everybody. JMV, this is on the text line, 317-239-1070. Troy's in Anderson. Moran's Bar and Grill is a great place, excellent food, and a friendly atmosphere. I will see you on Thursday. That is a massive shout-out. And a shout-out to everybody. Anderson, Madison County, Like, I get calls from, you guys ever hear the JMV takeover on Saturday night when Jeff and Lori call from Anderson? I'm assuming they're husband and wife. But they notoriously, and I can control it, they notoriously drop F-bombs often. That's a great blanket song, JMV, and says it like Jeff does. That's who we got to get out there. But it's going to be great. I love going to new spots during our tavern tour, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Thank you, Troy. We shall see you up there once again coming up on Friday. No, check that. I'm sorry. Thursday. Thursday at Moran's Bar and Grill in Anderson. Tavern tour stop with Evan Williams. Heaven Hills got us there, too. I know a lot of you have just simply put become detached to the World Cup. It's been odd, right? It's been, for me, odd because it's been on at times in which I would still watch it. Like, I'd find interest in watching England. I know, between England and France, you're going, man, if they're not cooking you food or singing your songs, you don't have too much time for it. And if it's not Gabriella Sabatini, you don't care about Argentina too much either, do you? Spain, I don't know. The Gasol brothers, you dig on that, I guess? Spain, what do you got? So you probably have checked out. It has been fun to watch. But as they say, it looks to be the usual suspects in this Final Four World Cup. And I will also tell you that it has gone smashingly in this country. And a shout out to everybody that makes this entire thing go. It has gone fantastically. At least I think. And that is even with a week ago and the massive disappointment of the crapping of the pants of the Americans. But the hosting aspect of this, you got, Dallas and Atlanta in these final two, these semifinals, and then MetLife in Jersey coming up on Sunday for the championship. Who out there paid money for that Conor McGregor fight? Nick, are you a UFC dude over there?
I am not.
You're not?
I am not.
Nick?
My friends are, but I...
How much did everybody have to pay for that fiasco?
I don't know. I think in some countries it was not pay-per-view and people still felt like they got ripped off. So I can only imagine if anybody had pay-per-view and they had the misfortune of being robbed blind, that was, I'm sure, not good.
When you set aside your time and your effort, just even beyond the monetary loss, if you paid for it, do you look at it that way? Man, I spent this time, and because I would have to look at it this way. You really didn't spend a lot of time because it was just out there for like less than a minute, and then his leg went all wobbly. He's going to have surgery, and it's over.
Yeah, McGregor having not fought in years leading up to this fight, I think kind of added to the anticipation. People were excited just to see what he had left in the tank. But, he's almost 40, which in terms of fighting is like being a dinosaur. Yeah. So I think maybe people had an emotional attachment to him because he's a huge cult of personality beyond just UFC. But being realistic, I don't think he ever had a chance anyway.
Nick, we're going to have to dial down your use of big words and terms on this show right here, okay? Because you're going to confuse people for a moment. They're going to, wait a minute, what is this, 3 o'clock? And what's this, cult of personality? What's that, Living Color? Is this a JMV takeover right here?
Shout out Guitar Hero 3.
Yes. Oh, look at that. Little Corey Glover.
Yeah.
Call back right there. He fell off the stage once upon a time, but broke his neck, I think, performing. Did he not, for Living Color?
I believe it.
Jeez. I believe, and he was also, was he in Platoon? Was Corey Glover in Platoon? I believe he was, right? The film Platoon? Now, are you way too young to have seen Platoon?
I am too young, but yes, he was in Platoon. That is correct.
Platoon's good stuff right there. Where are you with Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, Hamburger Hill, or the Hanoi Hilton? There was like a 2.5 year window when all four of those Vietnam-based classics happened. Or are you more of an Apocalypse Now going back to 1978? Have you seen any of these I just discussed?
I am completely in the dark, and I feel I regret it. I don't watch as many movies as I should. I didn't even watch Breaking Away until the night before I called the Little 500. which I'm glad I did.
Yo, you called the little 500.
But
who
yeah,
put you in? Yeah, you sound good. I may not have to. You sound a lot better than me here. This is not good. This is not good for the old guy.
I need to catch up on my movie catalog. Absolutely.
So did Clavio put you in charge of the little 500?
Yes, he did.
So you now know who the mooch is, right? The moocher from Breaking Away, the moocher. That's Kelly. That's Kelly Leak.
Yeah.
Right. That's the little guy.
Yeah.
Breaking Away.
A great movie. I mean, it's really cool because the movie was made so long ago relative to me, and I'm looking at all these landmarks around the IU campus, and I'm thinking, oh, wait, I've been there a million times. I had no idea. But it was a very, very cool viewing experience.
What was the pizza place? Pagali's, I believe, which was right there on the square. I want to say now that's Malibu Grill.
Yes.
And prior to Malibu Grill, this is even a precursor to you. Your parents may know about Jay Arthur's. And the Hot Bod Thursday night contest right there, buddy. Let me tell you. Jay Arthur's back in the day. But no, there's still that on 3rd Street. There's still that greenhouse that sits right there.
Yeah.
It still sits there, too. That was in a couple of scenes, too. And then, of course, all the road work he was doing there was one down by Clear Creek on the south side of Bloomington, too. It is always awesome.
Yeah.
And the stripper pits, the limestone quarries, too.
Yeah.
So... Well, Nick is here for how many days?
Just today and tomorrow.
Just today and tomorrow, Nick. If you want to chime in on anything, please feel free. Tucker Barnhart's going to join us. We'll talk a little MLB if you guys want. As a Reds fan, it's difficult because I checked out on Mother's Day, but I'm sure a lot of Cubs fans are still into it. Cardinals fans are still into it. We were outside yesterday, and they were watching the Braves and the Cardinals. Brewers fans are completely checked in. There just doesn't seem like outside of the White Sox, is there really anything that interesting about this season? It doesn't seem that way. We'll talk about that with Tucker, All-Star break, and more coming up here in the 4 o'clock hour. Stephen Holder is going to join us. We are inching toward the start of camp. So I go on with Tony Katz this morning, and he gave me about 35 seconds because he was yip-yapping with Amber Hardwick about the weather and with Matt Baer about car sponsorship or something. It was like bouncing back and forth and hot dogs and cocktail weenies. And I go, hey, well, cool. I'm glad I got up at 7 a.m. for it. He apologized, but I wasn't mad. I was just joking. But he did ask me what I was most interested in looking out for this Colts team this season. And the very easy thing to say is the health of a quarterback and the health of a wide receiver. But I'm going to give you what I think is the real answer, and that may surprise you. That and more coming up on the other side. That is Nick over there. I'm John right here. Garth Brooks tickets we're going to give away coming up a little bit later on in the show. Tucker Barnhart, Stephen Holder, and a whole lot more coming up for you. Do not go anywhere. 317-239-1070. That is the text line. If you want to get a message in, you can call that as well. We got a weather update coming up here too, Nick. All right. We'll get you weather-oriented on a beautiful Monday in central Indiana, courtesy of Fox 59. Hey, John here for, you got that right, Mark Dietel Realty. You guys need the best in realty. I have for you the best in realty. It's Mark Dietel to the rescue. 317-755-4232. MarkDietel.com. MarkDietel.com today. So maybe you don't need it right now, but I always tell you this to make sure you either memorize or write down this number. Keep it handy because at some point in your existence, you're going to need it because at some point, you're either not going to need all the property or all the space that you have in your present home, or you're going to need even more. That's the versatility and the greatness of Mark Dietel at 317-755-4232. In fact, Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert I trust and recommend with the sale of my home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. It's Mark Dietel Realty. 317-755-4232. MarkDietel.com. MarkDietel.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
It takes him a second to get on the stool because he's under 5 feet tall.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Raptors Pacers coming up later on tonight. The Thomas and Mack Center, that is at 4:30 on ESPN2. Yeah, the music fire in there, or was that what happened? Just out of curiosity.
I think it's.
Do I need to do it myself?
A little bit of rust on my end.
Come on, brother. You got that right. You got us. You got us.
I'll get some Megadeth up here.
My man, I want to mention this. Nick is outstanding at what he does. You just recently graduated from IU, correct?
That is correct.
And you may not know this, and I didn't, and I felt terrible because the last time you were on with me, I didn't bring it up because I didn't know. And I get why you didn't bring it up. But your mom is one of my all-time favorites around here. And I'm everybody better. I don't know if she didn't did she do about 10-plus years on her own, I think. She did so many. I remember your mom doing all these anchoring for newscast alone. So familiar with those that certainly recollect the greatness of RTV6. Nick's mom is Grace Trahan. And I was such a big fan when she was on. Awesome. And I'm assuming that is where you got the whole vibe to want to get involved in this. Did she give that to you at a young age?
From the on-air side, yes. It started, I did student news for a couple of years in high school. And I think if it wasn't for me seeing her in that capacity, I don't know that I would have maybe gone that route. She pushed me to get very comfortable with public speaking. And I believe it or not, I was a huge introvert growing up. So that was something that she definitely pushed me towards. And I think seeing her do that maybe inspired me to want to do the same thing. And it turns out I enjoyed it. So here I am.
I was a tremendous fan. How many years did she work at RTV6 in that capacity?
I think it was 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I remember just outside of being flawless in her presentation, most newscasts she did, she was alone. It was just kind of her and then a weather person and a sports person. And those were the first days that I can remember there being just a 3-person set live like that too. And you have to be so good at doing the news like that. And she was. So I could see where you get your professionalism, and I don't know where you got that voice. Somebody blessed you with that. But the professionalism and all that is well done. Well, tell your mother hi. And again, Nick's mom is Grace Trahan, who spent the better part of almost 20 years doing news here at RTV6. Just awesome. And I thought that was great when I heard that. I think Todd told me that. You didn't even tell me that. I said, what? Your mom's Grace Trahan? Wow. But I can understand where you get it for sure.
I appreciate it.
There are very few better than Grace back in the day, and she could probably do it right now. Could she not?
Yeah,
if you asked her to?
She still does some public speaking engagements and things in that capacity, and she still gives me advice because, when she speaks, I tend to listen. And that was I'm very fortunate to have her giving me guidance, not just in a professional capacity, but in just as my mom as well. It's very cool.
That's cool. That is Nick once again, and his mom, Grace Trahan. Pretty interesting right there. I didn't want to bring that up, but I did want to make sure first that you were cool with it. So make sure.
Absolutely.
And I'm glad that you are. All right, 239-1070 is the number. I mentioned Pacers and Raptors coming up at 4:30 in Summer League play. Braden Smith, a much better game, too, than initial performance that he had late last week. We'll get into that as they play coming up this afternoon, again at the Thomas and Mack Center coming up at 4:30. Meantime, 239-1070 is that number. Eric's going to kick off the show today with us. Hello, Eric. How are you?
I'm good, John. How the hell are you?
Eric, fantastic. Thanks, pal. Go ahead.
Hey, I'd just give a shout-out to Nick and his mom, Grace, who I've recently seen as she's the MC of the big Archdiocese of Indianapolis or of Indiana fundraiser downtown, and I've seen her down there the last couple of years at that event, and she is just as good as she always was on TV.
Man, there was
just as good.
Yeah, smooth and professional. And Eric, you would not be surprised. That's exactly how I would describe Nick at a very young age right here. He was like the completely opposite of me right here, for sure.
I can absolutely hear it. So hey, just a few things. The war movies.
Yeah.
I got to go with Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just too old for the others, but Apocalypse Now, top notch, just a spectacular movie, start to finish.
Yeah, and Robert Duvall with that is still one of the better performances we have seen. It was great.
Absolutely, and the whole Martin Sheen with the heart attack story. That's all just it's just incredible. The whole everything, and I got to go. The World Cup. I know that it's the 4 highest ranked teams in the world in the Final Four. I mean, imagine that on a NCAA big dance bracket. You got your top 4 seeds, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. It's a tournament maker's dream right there.
No, I think that the North America, the United States, obviously, and Canada and Mexico, this has gone flawlessly from what I gather. And I
agree.
I think the soccer has been high level. I don't know if I'd recognize high level unless somebody told me it was high level, but it seems to be high level hosting and high level play, which is all you can ask for.
It absolutely has been. It's been a joy to watch. And Corey Glover fell off the stage when Living Color opened for the Rolling Stones, I believe, on the Steel Wheels tour in the Hoosier Dome.
That's what I thought.
I was there when he did it.
I thought it was here. He fell off at the Dome here.
Yeah, exactly. He was swinging those dreads around all over the place, and he just got too much momentum and just pulled him right off into the pit.
There has been some weird things. You get that, and you get Axl Rose calling everybody around here a bunch of cornblankers. We've had some moments in rock history here, haven't we? And Elvis' final performance.
Elvis.
MSA.
I saw Elvis here. I saw Elvis in the fairgrounds at 72. I'm old.
Yeah, you had the crashing of the gate in '95 with the Grateful Dead. Because you had Fish up there for 3 consecutive nights over the weekend too. So there have been some moments around here, no doubt.
It's a place to come.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Eric.
All right, thanks, Sean. Have a good one.
You got it. No, some moments. You're right. That was the Hoosier Dome. Steel Wheels Tour. I want to say that was 1989. And I have the concert shirts from that. Front and back, real deal. Because my mom went to the Steel Wheels Tour over in St. Louis. And brought back shirts, and we still have them. I think I've worn one of them here before. Pretty awesome. Yeah, Corey Glover fell off the stage back in the day right here. That one is true. JMV, I don't think pay-per-view is a thing anymore. All the UFC fights are on Paramount Plus. So, yes, you do have to pay for the streaming service for Paramount Plus, but you don't pay the amount of money anymore for pay-per-view UFC fights. Paramount Plus. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people felt like that they were robbed of that on Saturday night, or at least that's what I gather with the reaction that was right there. JMV, if a player can come in and help the Pacers win a championship, fans should not give a damn who it is. No doubt. JMV, if LeBron goes to the Cavs or the Heat, the Pacers are a 6th seed next year. I just think, to me, and maybe you guys are going to be proven right, I just think that there is more to this and the belief in this core than there is the necessary new, fresh feeling. And I know that you lose the lottery selection. I know that you got the unknown in a lot of opinions and a lot of eyes with Zubats, although I can tell you, he was good with the Clippers. He just had to, most of the time, go get his own. Between Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, there was not a lot of opportunity unless himself, he created that opportunity by going to get it. But I trust Halliburton. I trust Halliburton more than I trust anybody. And again, that unique skill, that unique quality at an elite level. You can see guys gravitate. That's exactly how you want Caitlin Clark. Like, everybody thinks if Caitlin Clark doesn't score 30 and, shoot from 35 feet, no, if she distributes, mixes in a little bit of defense, her team wins at a high clip, and you see others wanting to come to play here. I know. The WNBA, I saw the Dan Patrick stuff over the weekend. The WNBA and the Fever themselves oftentimes can't get out of their own way. And honestly, the stuff is so easy. It's so easy. Just go on. It's Dan Patrick. Answer questions. Move forward. If you're the Fever, hey, in the afternoon show, you got a guy that absolutely loves basketball in the middle of the summer who rarely, if ever in the past, has talked up your product. Take advantage of that now. Don't hide from it. Oh, I'm sorry, Pacers, in a season in which you win 19, let's intro some of these guys and say how, yeah, you know what, this year is down, but next year, fans, we love the support you gave us last year. I cannot wait until Halliburton is back. It is not that hard. It is so far from rocket science, yet you see organizations and leagues oftentimes blank it up. And I will tell you, learn from the Colts. The Colts know that from 3 until 6, most of the time, it's just like a rip job. Why? Because that's the results that determine the discussion we have on this show. If they were solid results, strong results, positive, we would be positive. But when you lose, you're not. But they don't run from it. They still put the quarterback on in the afternoon. It is of value. And especially you end up finding out stuff about guys you don't know a lot about. There are other reasons why you can gravitate to them. But yeah, the WNBA and the Fever both have handled situations so badly. That whole thing needs revamped, all of it. I don't know who you got working. Maybe they're not the right people working it, but that whole thing needs to be revamped. It is head up rear syndrome most of the time, and it doesn't need to be that way. You want to take full advantage of it, and it doesn't seem like anybody takes full advantage of the opportunity. Now, mind you, you're always battling against stupidity, but let's face it, in this world, especially the window to the world that we have, you're always battling against this stupidity anyway. You either learn how to deal with it, or somebody else will do your job and deal with it. Seems pretty simple. Tucker Barnhart, top of the hour. Major League Baseball's All-Star break. The Home Run Derby is later on tonight. Midsummer Classic coming up tomorrow night. We'll talk about a little MLB with Tucker coming up at the top of the hour. Stephen Holder is going to be here in the 5 o'clock hour as well. We inch closer to the start of camp at the final one at Grand Park in Westfield for the Colts. We'll talk to Stephen coming up after 5. Garth Brooks tickets, back-to-back shows coming up in August at Cambridge Fieldhouse. I've got tickets for you a little bit later on, so don't go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Hey, John here for the best in plumbing. Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing and Drains at 317-927-7186. Hey, now's the time, seriously. Now's the time where we're going to go through a window of hot and humid and a lot of sunshine. So get Lance and his local team out there with some of what you may have issues with the drainage. And you found that out maybe the last rainstorm, maybe it was over the weekend, you found out that you have clogged drains, you want to do something about it. The best in plumbing, LD Smith Plumbing and Drains, can help you with that right here and right now. I mentioned now is a good time because if rain isn't in the forecast, you can get that done. And the next time it does come down in buckets, you're going to be good. And then you won't have that water standing in places in which it shouldn't, infiltrating spots in your home or your foundation where it should not be. That's why you have to count on the best and the highest quality of plumbing and craftsmanship you're going to find anywhere. Lance and his local team with LD Smith Plumbing and Drains. 317-927-7186 online, ldsmithplumbing.com. Hey, John here for the best in water. That's Connecticut Water. Connecticut Water is in my home. It needs to be in yours as well. Why? Because you're not going to find any better water out there. And I can give you the strongest testimonial. I live on a well. There is zero way without Connecticut I would have good water whatsoever. It would be beyond lousy. And if Connecticut can work my well water in Morgan County into something elite level, high level special, imagine what it can do for you. In fact, I would suggest you need it. My friend Joe at Connecticut.com today. They get out to your place. They will test your water for free and then customize a piece of work that will make sure you have the highest levels of water so you can bathe, you can drink, you can wash your clothes, and know that the water is the absolute best you have with Connecticut. Again, Joe today, get that free water test on your own time, but make sure you schedule that appointment today. That's Connecticut.com.
The Ride with JMV.
Excuse me, sir. There's been a little problem in the cockpit.
The cockpit? What is it?
It's the little room in the front of the plane where the pilots sit. But that's not important right now.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Nick is in for James. I'm John. And I'm normally here. Are you down with that? Is that you?
That's me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about your musical background right here of choice.
Yeah. I don't know how it started being a metalhead, but
you are a metalhead.
Absolutely. Yeah. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to St. Louis to see Avenged Sevenfold. So, I don't know. I grew up playing the violin. I like playing instruments. I learned how to play the guitar in seventh grade. And
you're versatile as hell. So you are a metalhead.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
Who's your favorite?
Right now, it's Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay.
In high school, I was big into Lamb of God, Trivium, Megadeth, Metallica, you name it. I guess it's just something about me playing instruments. I like playing guitar. I like learning how to play songs. And my gateway was Green Day.
Okay.
Because it's more simple. But then, you start looking for heavier stuff that's harder to play. And then you kind of just fall down the rabbit hole. And here we are.
Wow. Lamb of God.
Yeah.
Lamb of God. I've said this before. I saw them open up years ago for Metallica at the Fieldhouse. They were the loudest band I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I saw them open for Megadeth. I was there to see Megadeth. It was at Ruoff in 2021, and they
Big
knocked my
Megadeth
socks
guy
off.
over there, huh?
Yeah.
Too.
They knocked my socks off. Lamb of God was crazy.
Now, do you get down in the mosh pit with James Adams and bounce around shirtless with a bunch of other dudes?
I try not to leave with a broken nose, so
That's a good
generally
idea.
I avoid the pit.
Yeah.
I enjoy the music, and I don't know what it is, but you think you're a good guitar player, and then you hear something that Marty Friedman played in like 1990, and you're thinking, okay, it humbles you a little bit. That's for sure.
That is metal rocker Nick in for James today. All right. The top 10 NFL quarterbacks is ranked by coaches, executives, and scouts. ESPN has this. And you should note that of the top 5 in the first 2 weeks of the season, this year, the Colts will see. We'll get to that coming up on the other side. Tucker Barnhart also on the inbound. We've got Garth Brooks tickets to give away for you. Sit tight for that and Stephen Holder after 5. This is 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Hey, John here for Andy Moore Buick GMC 131st, 037. That is in Fishers. Eric Wilson is the guy that will give you the terms in which you can get in that new vehicle of your choice. And red hot, the automaker Buick right now. It used to be known as the older generational vehicle, but no, it is great for everybody, especially sparking the interest in the younger generation with the Buick Enclave. If you love a great in-the-now, technology-wise and everything SUV, they have it for you. Various styles, that means various price tags and something that will suit you. The inventory, the styles, those incentives to buy, which will save you money, and the service after the sale is absolutely unmatched. It is Indiana's best. Go there. Hassle-free shopping with my friend Eric Wilson, with Rob and the gang at Andy Moore Buick GMC, 131st at Row 37 in Fishers. Hey, John here for the District Tap. 2 locations, Clearwater Crossing, North Side, downtown Indy. Damn good food, happy hour specials, all that you need to have a satisfying afternoon or evening, too. TV's everywhere, so you're not going to miss a second of anything of your choice. My man Michael has it cooking, literally. And then downtown on Friday, you can join me there. More coming up, but yet another reason to cut her loose with us on Friday at the District Tap downtown. Or ask for Sammy, the server, the bartender on the north side of Clearwater Crossing. And for more info, thedistricttap.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
Stand by, Stryker. We're going to the tower. Good luck.
We're going to the tower. The tower? The tower? Rapunzel! Rapunzel!
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Back here on The Ride with JMV, I am producer Nick Rotocap. John has stepped out of the studio for just a moment, but here in the 4 o'clock hour, we've got Tucker Barnhart getting set to join the show. His Cincinnati Reds have not had the first half of the season that they were looking for. But John will talk to Tucker Barnhart here in just a moment. Here is the star of the show, JMV.
Hey, thank you very much. I was in the bathroom. My bad. How late? Was I really, really late? That's like the first time I've been really, really late.
10
right
or 15 seconds.
10 or 15 seconds. Is Tucker ready?
He is not, but I can dial him up here very quickly.
Dial Tucker Barnhart's going to join us in just a second. Sorry about that bathroom break at the top of the hour. That's what happens, Nick. Be prepared when you get a little bit older here. As I approach 57, sometimes that does occur. Hey, welcome back. Hour number 2 of the show downtown. And I want to mention a couple of different things. We're going to crack open a new tavern tour stop coming up on Thursday, and that is with Brent Holverson and Tony Rins. We are going to be at Moran's Bar and Grill. We're going to be in Anderson for that. Cannot wait. I love the new locations. That is going to be awesome, so be prepared for that. That is coming up on Thursday. Moran's Bar and Grill. And trying to think what else we're going to have. Now, this tavern tour stop, those will continue. We're doing these now on a monthly basis. And I don't know if I have any of the other stops in front of me, but this is cool because we'd never been to this place before, which is one thing that I absolutely love. I love having new places and being able to be there. Let me give this to you right here. Come in here and get my phone. I can't send it to you right now, Nick. Come and get my phone. That is his number right here. Sorry, everybody. I didn't send that to Nick either right there. So thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. Tucker in just a second. But no, Moran's coming up on Thursday. And then the District Tap, we're going to be downtown coming up on Friday once again. That's prior to the Fever game. And we'll talk more about that. Garth Brooks tickets all week long for you right here. And thank you very much. Pacers 4:30 Summer League game. I mentioned that you go all the way back to that initial performance by Braden Smith, and that is the focus that we've had so far. That initial performance was not anything that would leave you thrilled. But that is normalcy when you first step foot in a situation like that. I thought that the second performance was the one in which you felt, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. He looked a lot more like himself, more settled in, seeing the floor better, all that and then some. That's how it felt. They get the Raptors. Thanks, Nick, for that. I appreciate that. I should know how to share contact information with you. That's unfortunate. Raptors and Pacers coming up here at the bottom of the hour from the Thomas and Mack Center in Las Vegas. If he's ready on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline, former Major Leaguer Tucker Barnhart, you're going to be surprised. So I got caught in the bathroom late, right?
Not surprised.
Problematic. Caught in the bathroom late. And then he's even better. I couldn't figure out how to share your number with Nick so he could call you, so I made him come in here and get my phone. That's even better.
From the John.
Yeah, from the app. Can you come in the bathroom and get it right here? So, but it's interesting because this Major League Baseball season, doesn't seem to be, other than the White Sox, because it's been so long for them, there is interest, but there's not a high level of interest because nobody's really been very interested ever in the White Sox. It just doesn't seem like there's a lot going on around here.
Yeah, especially locally. I would agree with that completely. I mean, the Cubs are good. The Brewers are relatively local, I guess, and they're very good. But when you think about the Reds and you think about the Cardinals, Cardinals are in a pretty good spot with some young talent, and the Reds are just kind of spinning their wheels a little bit. It's just, I think as a whole, I believe that the American League is pretty bad. I don't know that there is anybody really other than maybe I think the Rays. The last time I looked, the Yankees are good. I'm going to forget about somebody, but the American League as a whole is pretty down. And then when you factor in the local kind of ho-hummedness, it does make for a pretty boring, at least first half. So hopefully here's to a good second half, an exciting second half, and hopefully our Reds can make a push and make it interesting around here.
Yeah, well, they'd have to do a lot to do that. Tucker Barnhart joins us. I was going to ask you this because you brought up the Rays. Why is it that consistently they're able to put something together? And they're working lean. They're running lean as anybody, but they're consistently able to put something together where teams like the Reds have all this time and certainly a great deal of local fan interest, and they never can put anything together. How good of a scouting department and a front office do you have to maintain and consistently put together that product as they do in Tampa?
Well, it certainly has to be at a very high level, player development and scouting, and knowing, I think, organizationally from the top down what you're after and what you're looking for. I think you remember when in New England when Bill Belichick seemed to always get rid of guys, like it would leave you shaking your head, like, why are they getting rid of this guy now? And then he would go to his next spot and the performance or the numbers would kind of fall off of a cliff. And it seems like the Rays have found that in a way of the way the game's played. I think they did the opener before everybody, and it was a hit, and it was very successful for them. They did the platoon advantage stuff. It's always been around, but they maybe leaned into it a little bit more than anybody else did at the beginning. And now they're back to like stealing bases, bunting, and playing good defense, which obviously are things that have always been done. forever in baseball, but obviously the game is cyclical, and the strikeouts and homers are the biggest thing right now. But yet the Rays are playing a small ball, kind of old school style of baseball that is, I don't want to say catching everybody off guard, but in a way it's catching everybody off guard. Yeah. It's kind of how the Pacers played last year when they were playing faster than everybody else. And a lot more times than not, their depth and their pace beat people. It wasn't necessarily the name on the back of the jersey that night that beat the other team. It was just collectively a group of guys that their style of play and the depth beat them. And I think the Rays are doing things like that where they are finding their niche and just beating everybody that way before the other teams can kind of catch up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, here's Tucker Barnhart on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. Home Run Derbies later on tonight. Midsummer Classic coming up tomorrow night. So it's funny. NFL draft, NBA draft. Everybody has all this interest. When it comes to the MLB draft, not so much there, but it seems like a team like Tampa takes so much pride into that and others to do it. Should that be viewed as more of an important draft, and especially in terms of people paying attention? Because it doesn't seem like it's in the same stratosphere as the other two.
Well, yeah, you're asking the wrong guy. I would obviously always say yes. I mean, I think being a baseball player, I follow it from afar now that I'm done. But when I was in it and playing, I watched it and pick for pick and followed it to see where guys were going and what teams were doing what. I think the thing that you don't see in the MLB draft that you see in the NBA and the NFL is the direct impact that those guys that get drafted right in the first round or right away have on organizations the following year. You're talking about guys that are getting drafted out of high school now that are 18 years old in baseball, and they're not going to probably make it in at the earliest end 3 years until they're in the big leagues and they're impacting the team that everybody's following. I mean, not everybody's following the Beloit Shuckers, who are the rookie ball team affiliate of whoever, you know what I mean? I think the fanfare, it would be bigger if there were more of a direct impact to the teams right away or in that following year, but it just doesn't happen. And I think it kind of drives down the interest for sure.
You mentioned the Reds a little bit earlier, 15.5 back. It's been, to me, an absolute disastrous first half, considering the start they got off to in the first month, and then how they played. The clip in which they're playing since then is pretty awful, and that's probably going to sound the alarm for the end to Nick Kroll, for example, a guy that runs as the general manager of the organization. But what do you find or would take issue with the Reds and why they have just lived down to so many expectations, even with all that consistent belief in what Kroll is doing? And really some guys that have a great level of talent in which has never come all together to be a challenger, at least to this point, in their own division, much less the National League in general.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, you see teams kind of stockpile talent, and they obviously impact the big league level at some point, like I was saying. And you look at the Brewers, who, in my opinion, based on name recognition alone, I feel like they always overachieve. Where I find it hard to kind of, I guess, understand what, from a player development standpoint, that the Reds approached when they approached the draft, it seems to be one of two players that they draft at the first with their top pick. It's either a college level starting pitcher or it's a shortstop. It doesn't matter if it's a college shortstop or a high school shortstop. I think they've drafted college or high school shortstops outside of Chase Burns and Rhett Lauder, with like their last, excluding those, with like the last 5 first-round picks that they've had. So I understand that you're taking one of the most athletic players on the field and assuming that you might be able to move them if there's a logjam that's created. I think where the miss is, in my opinion, and there are people that are way smarter than me that get paid to make decisions that I'm getting ready to say that I would do something differently, and I understand that, but corner outfield with like power, like I haven't. Where is that? Like first base, like outside of South Stewart, corner infield guys that are projected to hit 30 homers in the big leagues. Like, where is that? And like, that's where my questioning like happens. So yeah, you're drafting some of the best athletes on the field in the shortstops, but it's really damn hard to switch positions. And it's even harder to switch positions at the major league level, which is what they've asked these guys to do, like the Matt McClains of the world, who drafted as a shortstop, comes up as a shortstop, and then he makes his big league debut. And I believe he made his big league debut at second base. And now he's been taking balls in the outfield. It's just, for me, I find it hard to kind of wrap my brain around why taking so many shortstops and not taking a well-polished, accomplished outfielder in the first round, or a well-accomplished first baseman in the first round, that college first baseman in the first round. And so I guess, I mean, I'm trying to be politically correct here because I love the Reds and I love everybody in Cincinnati. I'm a fan of Nick Krall. It kind of confuses me a little bit when I do look into like what they've done at the top end of the draft here the last few years.
Yeah, it seems like that if somebody is walking the plank right now in MLB, it's certainly that guy, considering all the years and just not being able to put something together. And it's funny because you look at the Brewers, Tucker, at the top of the Central right now, and while they have these great regular seasons, it's never come to fruition in the postseason. What's that come down to?
And it's funny, the Rays are kind of the same way as well, and we were talking about them earlier. It's hard to kind of put your finger on what it comes down to. It's typically whoever hits a lot of home runs, whoever homers a lot, they're going to go deep in the playoffs, and who strikes out a lot of guys, they're going to go deep in the playoffs as well, in terms of a strategic kind of mindset or outlook on who performs the best in the playoffs. But they say it all the time, and it's the most cliche thing ever. And quite frankly, I hate it. It's like whenever you get in a dance, you never know what can happen. But if you look at a team like Milwaukee with an absolute bona fide ace in Jacob Mizorowski, you got to feel like they're going to make a push, even though they haven't in the past. You look at the likes of the Dodgers, you look at the likes of the Yankees. I mean, the Garrett Coles of the world, the best player ever, Shohei Ohtani's of the world. Like, those type of guys will carry you in the postseason. When a whole offense is bogged down, the Aaron Judges of the world, a whole offense is bogged down, you're looking to your horses to kind of carry you, whether that's an offensive player or a defensive player, a pitcher. And when you have a team like the Rays, who we were talking about earlier, who win a lot of games in a like kind of non-traditional way or an old school type of way, and they don't have like that guy that really carries them offensively or can shut a team down, that kind of where typically I feel like it starts to kind of make it difficult on those teams to win in the playoffs.
So Tucker Barnhart, the former MLBer, he's headed up to join us. Midsummer Classic tomorrow night, Home Run Derby later on tonight. He's on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. So the White Sox enter the All-Star break right now, and probably the most interesting story in Major League Baseball, tied with Cleveland atop the AL Central. How do you view that in what you've witnessed out of them up until this point? And then also in that division would be the Tigers. We saw Max Clark from Franklin perform really well over the weekend for Toledo. How long do you think it's going to be before he's called up to the big club in Detroit?
Well, I think for me with Max, it's going to depend on what the Tigers do at the deadline and how do they view their chances to make a push for either the Central or a wild card spot. Obviously, they have a guy that in Tarek Skubal, he's an aircraft carrier, and as soon as he moves, everybody else is going to move in terms of if they decide to sell. They're not going to try to win and trade Tarek Skubal. I think that sends two different messages, and I just don't see it happening. So I think that if they do decide to sell, I think there's where, if he continues to play well, that's when that would happen. I'd say it's around the deadline. Scott Harris and AJ Hinch do a great job of seemingly knowing when guys are ready to come up and produce and I think they will do right by Max and they'll do right by the Tigers. And when they call him up, it'll make sense. And hopefully he doesn't go back down. And I don't think they'll bring him up just to give him a nice little trial run for a couple weeks if somebody gets hurt and send him back down. I think they'll bring him up. And when he comes up, if he plays well, I think they'll give him every opportunity to stay. And so I think they're kind of waiting to see where they're at here in the next couple of weeks, or especially after the break, and see if they got a chance to make a push.
What do you like about his skill set?
I think he plays with his hair on fire. To be candid, I haven't seen him play a ton. I've just seen highlights and videos. I mean, he's a freak athlete. His body looks like the Under Armour mannequin when he's wearing a baseball uniform. He's a good uni guy, is what we like to say. Wears the uniform well, but he can really run. From everything I've heard, he plays a really good outfield, and he's a left-handed hitter that has juice. So, I mean, it doesn't seem like there's much to not like with a guy that steals bases, that plays aggressive like him. He reminds me in the way he plays and the way his game kind of looks, from what I've been told and seen, of Pete Crow Armstrong. It's just that type of super high energy, left-handed outfielder, left-handed swing. And so I'm excited for him, excited for him to get to the big leagues. And I know my boys who are listening right now are excited for him to get to the big leagues too, so they can wear all their baseball lifestyle stuff with pride for sure.
Oh my goodness. And by the way, we were trying to get him on the show last week, and he wanted to come on the show. His dad wanted to get him on the show. And the Tigers said no, which, listen, I know you're out of the game. You're a former Tiger, too. I don't get it. I don't get it from an angle of promote the game, especially with a dude that is from that market. Promote him. Even I don't that portion of it. And listen, you and I are on the same page here. We're friends, so I know that you're going to side with me on this. But my goodness, what the hell is wrong with MLB or teams like that? Not letting him come on in his hometown.
First of all, I don't buy that. I don't buy that the Tigers told him he couldn't go on.
No, that's 100%. They told my producer that. Tuck, they told him.
Really?
Yeah, and then his dad told our executive producer that he wanted to come on, but they wouldn't allow it.
I don't know. I don't know. That's the first time that I've heard that. I've never.
What? I don't know. I wouldn't understand that, because you were always great. Whatever team you were on, you always dropped in and, promoted the game around here, promoted where you came from in Brownsburg, and everybody that helped you along the way. It was always fantastic. I don't get why you'd want to sidestep that.
No, I don't either. You want to, like you said, promote the game, promote the youth. I mean, the game's never been younger, and it's never been, I think, better at the youngest of levels, especially in the major leagues. And you'd think that you would want to have, especially, I mean, Detroit's, 4 hours away? I think 4.5 hours away. It's not that far, right? So you got a local guy that is relatively local in terms of the parent club that he's with.
I do make fun of the state all the time. You think that had anything to do with it?
Potentially.
Well, I mean, but Dusty May came. Well, of course, he left. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's all it.
Afraid that you'd want that Max Clark would want to up and leave after Dusty left.
Yeah. Well, I think their AD in Michigan's going to get gas too. So yeah, everything's going haywire up there right now.
Is he coming on your show tomorrow too, then, or what?
Oh yeah, probably be the last gasp right there. So no, it was just funny, because I just think, and believe me, this is a rampant style, and the WNBA and the Fever are the absolute worst at it. The worst at it. So it's not just something that's with, for example, the Tigers or this. It's something right now that you kind of got to realize, just take advantage of the positivity and hitting every outlet you possibly can, and roll with it. I don't get why you wouldn't do that, but especially when you're from the place too, by the way. So
for sure.
Anyway, all right, home run derby. Is this still interesting as it used to be? Because it doesn't seem that way. Am I just not on board?
No, I mean, it's just, there's no way. I think I heard somebody talking, I don't know where it was, this morning or earlier today about how, like, there's nothing really else you can do.
There's not.
To make it more interesting. I think it may have even been you that said it.
It was me. I think you're quoting me. You're quoting me right here. Thanks.
See, I'm a P1, man. You know it.
And you're quoting me. That's great. Hey, honestly, this is the first time I've ever been quoted in my life. I appreciate that.
You bet.
Yeah.
No, I think they're going back to the old school number of swings or number of outs, I think is what they're doing this year. You know, to me, it's still intriguing because knowing how difficult it is to hit a baseball, even in batting practice, it makes it fun to watch. And playing in these stadiums that they're doing these home run derbies in, and watching guys hit homers where they are in the stadium, and knowing how far it is, makes it interesting to me. Now, the everyday baseball fan, I don't know, or the common fan that can't find anything to watch and they're going to turn it on tonight and watch for a few minutes, or I don't know. I don't know how they can make it better. It is still interesting to me. I think some of the guys in there tonight, the Philadelphia brethren, they're going to be going up against each other. It's going to be fun. I still find it fun, but I can understand when people are hating on it. It makes sense.
All right. So a week from Sunday, we had one yesterday that was a humdinger, a pool party at Paradise de Watson. Can you and Sierra make it a week from Sunday? A week from Sunday.
I will have to check. Our baseball is over. We had our last baseball tournament this past weekend, and so we are free to enjoy the last few weeks of the summer with the boys. So we will. I will let you know. I'll check in, and we will go from there.
You think we can get Storen to bring a case?
Yeah, I
Field of Dreams down?
I think he knows a guy. I think he knows a guy that he can make that happen.
Does he keep that stuff in his garage, or does he have a storage shed? What's he got?
I think it's probably a bit of both.
Put that in your storage shed, would you? So, no, we would love to. We'd love to have you. We had Hagen down there yesterday, and we had the Chelsea Helms, the anchor of CBS 4, make her triumphant debut at Paradise de Watson.
Sounds like I'd be in great company if I was invited and came.
You guys can stay. Just all you got to do is cross the road and crash. You're all good right there.
Sounds good. I appreciate you.
Man, all the time. You know it. All right, we'll check back in over the course of the season and see what's going on, but I can't thank you enough, pal.
Sounds good, man. Call me anytime.
You got it. And quote me anytime. Feel free, okay?
Yeah, there you go. Yes, sir.
Tucker Barnhart of the Eddie Moore Automotive Group hotline. A tremendous dude quoting me. Yeah, we had a great time. I want to give a shout out to Chelsea Helms, who anchors CBS 4, along with Bob Donaldson, and Chris Hagen. They both came yesterday. Outstanding time. This date in musical history, Live Aid, there was one in Wembley in London that famously had the Queen performance with Freddie Mercury. And there was another in Philly at JFK. Which one would you have rather seen? Look up the list of Philly and London. Which one would you have rather attended? Just out of curiosity. It's pretty awesome, though, just to think about that. I know most people, because it's so legendary now with the Freddie Mercury and the Queen performance. But when you look at the list, it is a who's who, and it does make you think. Yeah, you're right. Let me take a break and come back. I was going to mention this. Every time there is an ESPN NFL promo and Peyton Manning's one of those action figures like Toy Story, and he's in a Broncos uniform, I get like 1,000 messages about how everybody around here hates it. Got to keep in mind, they fired him here. And he's going to rock that uniform. Going to rock that uniform with the Broncos every time. The whole Toy Story thing, he's always in a Broncos uniform, and that drives a lot of people around here nuts. Quick break. We'll come back. Holder, top of the hour. Garth Brooks tickets coming up a little bit later on, too. Back-to-back performances in August at Cambridge Fieldhouse. I'm going to give you a chance to win coming up. Don't go anywhere. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Let's get updated weather-wise from Fox 59 or CBS 4, maybe both. John for Connecticut, the best water out there. And I'm going to give you the most fascinating and exact testimony of all time. So I live in Morgan County. I have water from a well, which is essentially a ditch that runs out, right? So my water, it's going to take a lot to give me the best water possible. Connecticut does that. Joe and Connecticut can come out to your place. So you even have better water right now than I do. Imagine what Connecticut can do for you. Drinking, bathing, washing your clothes, all of the essentials with Connecticut water. My friend Joe and the gang can come out, test your water, find out what they can do for you, and then build a system specifically for you. That's where Connecticut is different. They make sure your job, number one, it is specific for you. Get that appointment online today, Connecticut.com. Let me tell you a little bit of something about Rhino Shield. You'll never, ever have to paint your house again. A 25-year warranty, a transferable warranty with the ceramic coating that is built. It is produced specifically for this climate, which is, as we know it to be, absolutely haywire. It is going to make your property look incredible. Your home, maybe even your business. So residential and commercial, it is Rhino Shield, uniquely in any color. Any color imaginable. And this great deal right now, 888 Rhino 41, give them a call, tell them I sent you. You're going to get $15, check that, 15% off the regular price. That's 15% off the regular price of the ceramic coating of Rhino Shield. And again, you just don't have to mess with this ever again. That's 888 Rhino 41. Take advantage of that deal right now. Residential and commercial. Don't paint, no vinyl. Go Rhino and never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
The Ride with JMV.
Everybody freeze. Everybody down on the ground.
Well, which is it, young feller? You want I should freeze or get down on the ground? If I freeze, I can't rightly drop. And if I drop, I'm going to be in motion. You see?
Shut up!
Okay, then.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Tucker Barnhart, podcast 1075thefan.com. I wouldn't care about the lineups, JMV. I would just choose to have been a part and seen Queen, Freddie Mercury at Wembley Stadium. Just incredible. I'd agree with that. Live Aid, this date back in 1985. I would agree with that portion of it. I would. JMV, AD Ward Manuel is coming under fire for the toxic culture surrounding Michigan athletics since the Harbaugh days. Do you think that played a part in Dusty May making the decision to leave Michigan for the NBA? No, I think once he got the offer from the NBA, from Michigan and Dallas and Cooper Flagg, that made the decision for him. I think the reason why Ward Manuel is under fire right now is I wonder if that would have been squashed had Dusty not left. It just seems like all of a sudden the focus went to the athletic director once Dusty bailed because, hey, why is he leaving? He just won the national title. I think that made, Matty, everything worse. But as I mentioned before, Dusty always wanted to go to that level. And being offered that gig was something he wasn't going to turn down. JMV, home run derby equals blank show. Whether it's 20 outs or 20 swings. Those watching, they will just get to see them stand there and wait on their pitch. That's Seltzer. JMV, does Tucker know which team has MLB's lowest batting average? And if so, does that surprise him? Is he loving the ABS? We did talk about Max Clark a little bit, too. JMV, the McGregor fight was a joke on Saturday. I don't know why I continue to really pay attention to any of this. I've never paid too much attention to any of it. Of course, I'm working on Saturday night, so that's a part of it, too. JMV makes me so happy that I hear Bill Walton on the intro. Thank you for keeping that there at solid goal. That's never going anywhere. The fact that he said that is still incredible to me. And then his book, he wrote a paragraph and signed it to Larry Bird, in which it was delivered to Larry Bird. Now, if it were anybody else but me, they probably would deliver it to themselves, but it got delivered to Larry Bird. One of the better memories I will have. And if you guys remember the show, it was during the Final Four in Houston, and he sat across from me, and I think went and talked for about an hour. I think it was around an hour. JMV, I agree with you regarding the Fever last night. That was their best win of the season. I also agree that Kalen Clark does not have to score in high volume for this team to be good. There's zero question about that. Unfortunately, there's some of her fans out there that are rabid and kind of crazy and mostly nerdy that believe that if she's not scoring buckets and in high volume and hitting shots from 30 feet, that she's not getting the opportunity and the offense is not conducive for her to be good or to great or that team to be good or great, and you could not be more inaccurate. And that's what makes you nerdy basketball nerds not knowing much. Fanboys, maybe. Basketball knowledgeable, no. That's exactly how you want to see that team play last night. A road dominant performance. It's exactly how you want to see that go. Can you imagine had they not stunk it in the fashion in which they did in L.A.? Just imagine that for a moment. And they did, and that was late, and they got called out for it. Want to know why I called them out? Because if you are a basketball watcher and knower, it is easy to see a team that is not in it especially late, not getting back on defense, not running the floor. This team has certainly been more engaged. Now, I know that there are some fans and fans of Caitlin Clark that want to see the head coach, Stephanie White, get fired. There are a lot of mouthpieces, a lot of those, what I like to call them verbal grifters out there that also want to get her fired. But again, the issues with this team was not just the head coach. It was the team. It was the personnel. JMV, will you be giving away any Bruno Mars tickets? That thing's on the inbound here relatively soon. I'm surprised we haven't already given those away. I'm not sure. What is that? That's at Lucas Oil Stadium, I believe, right? Bruno Mars? I've got Garth for you coming up. Friends in Low Places. Give you a chance at those coming up in the 5 o'clock hour for sure. JMV, regarding those films that you mentioned, documenting the Vietnam War, Full Metal Jacket for the win. Did you know that once upon a time, R. Lee Ermey, the late, great R. Lee Ermey, Sergeant Hartman, was on my show? Different station. True story. The Mount Comfort Air Show. And I believe R. Lee Ermey, Jim McCann in Southern California can look this up. R. Lee Ermey was doing some Discovery Channel show, I think, at the time. And he was a guest at the Mount Comfort Air Show and spent a couple of segments on with me. I was doing a live show there on a Saturday afternoon, and there's R. Lee Ermey. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. And you tend to forget, not only was he incredible in Full Metal Jacket, but what about Mississippi Burning, everybody? That is a significant 2-film run. R. Lee Ermey. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. And the Colts, out of the gate, get 2 of the top 5 as ranked by coaches, executive, and scouts in the NFL in the first 2 weeks of the season. So when I sit here and tell you that's what you prioritize, when I sit here and tell you that's what's important. Now, I was on with Tony Katz this morning. I mentioned this. I was on with Tony Katz, and he said, hey, well, the Colts and camp's coming up, blah, blah, blah. What about Daniel Jones? And, they keep going to back about Richardson. Nobody cares about that. You want to make sure your quarterback is healthy and ready to start. Your wide receiver, big money wide receiver, is healthy and ready to start. And by the way, your big money wide receiver has to make some major significant gains in production. Comes with the territory getting paid. But to me, not the most important aspect. Lost in the shuffle is somebody else. And especially with what I mentioned, those first 2 games, and really the first 4, but we'll highlight the first 2. Considering the top 10 NFL quarterbacks ranked by coaches, executives, and scouts. Get to that name coming up. Stephen Holder, top of the hour. Garth Brooks tickets we're going to give away coming up a little bit later on. Don't go anywhere. It's 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Got you covered. Premier weight loss at the two Indy area locations. North side of 317-643-4444. I'm going to go up there and hang out with Sam coming up on Wednesday, by the way, too, to see how we're doing. That's a monthly basis that they tune me up and find out exactly how things are going. Also, the Fishers location, 317-567-9100. I mention it all the time. Premier weight loss keeps you goal-oriented. That's exactly what Sam does. Lauren will do the same, and so will Thomas. So when you embark on your very own weight loss journey with GLP-1 weight loss injections right here in Indy, that's what they do for you, too. They make sure you remain engaged. You're doing the things that are necessary to reach your goals, and you're doing them in a healthy fashion. They care about you. They really do. So if you want to get started to get back to doing the things you used to do, to feeling better, to looking better, to being more healthy, Premier Weight Loss and those experts will help you along the way every single step. PWLindy.com. And also, it's easy. Considering how hustle and bustle your life might be, maybe you can't drop in like I will on Wednesday on a monthly basis. They can do those things all virtually for you. And actually, you can save virtually right now by checking in with PWLindy.com. All right, so cosmetically speaking, electronic toning, they got you. How about Botox? They got you. How about skin tightening? They have that too. All the things that you're looking for in one place. That's Premier Weight Loss. Tell them I sent you today. That's PWLindy.com. Hey, JMV here. If you're considering buying a watch and you need to know one name, simply put, Moyer Fine Jewelers. It's Dan and Lauren and the gang up there. That's, friends, your watch store, whether you're looking for an entry-level luxury watch starting at around $700 or maybe chasing an iconic piece worth several thousand. Moyer has hundreds to choose from. They're an authorized dealer for 23 watch brands and have the Midwest's most incredible collection of pre-owned Rolex. Building your collection, too. If you're on the hunt for that first watch, Moyer is the place to go. So if you're shopping for a luxury watch in Indiana, you have options, but none measure up to Moyer Fine Jewelers. Moyer is the watch store. Where else can you find heavy-hitting luxury brands like Omega, Breitling, Grand Seiko, Hublot, and so much more? How about Fears and Croix de Suisse in the Midwest? Most impressive selection of pre-owned Rolex. More selection, more expertise, and a guaranteed better experience. That's Moyer. Tell Dan Moyer I sent you today. 146 in Carmel, MoyerFineJewelers.com. Again, check it out online, MoyerFineJewelers.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
Joey, have you ever been in a Turkish prison?
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Nick is rocking it right there. He's our guitar-playing metalhead of a producer in for James today. The Raptors 24-8 at the 2.5-minute mark of the first quarter. Summer League play, Thomas and Mag Center in Las Vegas. So, who we got here? The starting lineup for the Raptors, Seth Lundy, Jaden Bradley. 11 points between the two. Namar Burnett, Alan Graves, and Nate Biddle. Nate Biddle played most notably or most recently his college basketball as a big man. Where, Nick?
Oregon.
There you go.
He is the oldest looking college graduate I have ever seen.
He looks older than me, doesn't he?
He is. He's balding in the back.
Yeah.
And, oh, man. I expected more from Oregon this past year, but then Jackson Shellstat got hurt, and Biddle had to carry them a little bit too much, and Lamar Wilkerson took advantage of that. But, man, that is a name I did not expect to hear today.
Here's who else is coming off the Raptors bench. Do you remember the name Tyreek Key?
I probably should, but I don't.
Isn't Tyreek Key from Indiana State? Did he go to Tennessee too?
He did play at Indiana State. Yeah. He was also at Tennessee. That is correct.
Yeah. You're going to see a lot of these guys. Now, most of these guys are going to end up overseas somewhere, if not in the G League. 24-10. The struggle bus has been loaded up by the Pacers in this third Summer League game. And Braden Smith, not so much in the stat sheet so far. Really not so much across the board. Rink Mast has 4. Actually, I'd have to look back on it. I don't know the stats, but it seems like every time I see a highlight, he's like doing the highlight.
Yeah, Rink Mast, he was an interesting one at Nebraska.
Yeah.
I remember when he was injured.
I remember he was at Bradley, too, for that matter.
Yeah, when he was injured, Nebraska missed him quite a bit.
That is Nick over there. JMV, I completely agree regarding Arlie Ermy and your assessment there. Thank you. I'm going to mention this to Stephen Holder coming up at the top of the hour. And while everybody looks to, and rightly so, most important is always quarterback, that Daniel Jones. Going to be healthy, going to be ready to go because you have to have your ass ready to go immediately this season. Now, Alec Pierce gets paid. You can't be Alec Pierce. Hey, you know what? He can run down the field and you can just throw it up to him like you're playing in the backyard. He is going to have to put up significant numbers, which means getting healthy and being able to put up significant numbers. But you look at the top 10 quarterbacks as ranked by coaches, executives, and scouts for ESPN. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson are the top 5. Prescott's kind of weird at number 6. Justin Herbert, Drake May, Jared Goff, Caleb Williams. You get number 2 and number 5 the first 2 weeks of the season. So while most people would say, well, that means it's good because you got Sauce Gardner and you're going to have Mooney Ward. It's not that. Pressure. Leatu Latu to start this season is going to be maybe not quarterback, but right there with most important, you have to become what and how your general manager described you when he drafted you. Hey, we just got the best defensive player in the draft. Hadn't been it yet. Got to show it now, and especially at the start of the year. Most questionable position for me, again, is edge rusher, even with a rookie taking over for Zaire Franklin and C.J. Allen. Now, even with the experience and playmaking ability you expect to have in the secondary, Leatu Latu has to be somewhere in the general vicinity of how he's been described. And especially with those two to start the season. Stephen Holder and I discussed that coming up on the other side. Garth Brooks tickets we're going to give away for that 2-show back-to-back evening at Gainbridge Fieldhouse coming up in the month of August. Sit tight for that 5 o'clock hour. Straight ahead. Stay right there. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Hey, JMV here. This July, America's 250th birthday. Low T Center celebrating 250 of freedom with their 250 for 250 deal. So all month long, men who start testosterone therapy and stay with it for 90 days earn $250 back. The founding fathers recognize to change the circumstances, you got to be free. And 250 years later, you've got that freedom. So you're over 40, low energy, low sex drive, and not feeling yourself. You don't have to stay that way. Come celebrate 250 years of America with the Low T Center's 250 for 250 deal, because bringing back the energy and vitality for your youth is worth celebrating. FixMyLowT.com today. That's fixmylowt.com. The offer ends July the 31st. Terms and conditions apply. That's fixmylowt.com.
The Ride with JMV.
Smokey, this is not Nam. This is bowling. There are rules.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
That is Nick. Nick! Is the music not functioning? Oh, there you go. Are you having a problem with Zeta over there?
So usually I'd use James's login,
Yeah.
but I'm using the generic login today, and it threw me for a loop. And
You
I
can
don't-
use mine if you want.
Yeah, I should
I have one down. I think I have one. Yeah, I do have one. And normally I use it for B every Saturday night.
That was the.
I have thought, I will say this, Nick. By the way, Nick is in for James today, hour number 3, with Garth Brooks tickets we'll give away a little bit later on. 2 nights, back-to-back nights, coming up in August at the Fieldhouse. But I battled, Zeta, by the way, is our program and how things are run here, computer program. And it was so profoundly different than Wide Orbit. And once we left that building to come to this one, I battled with that. And Nick, did you train on Zeta?
Yes, I did.
I didn't even train on Zeta.
Oof.
I had to learn. I just learned on the fly, and I jacked everything up. Especially when we were down the hall before I went downstairs, and we were down the hall doing it in production studios. Oh man, I was a mess. But I will say, now that I have learned it, and I've told the engineers this, and I'm not very bright at all, so if I can learn this, anybody can. But I can see why everybody likes it, because it is, especially for me doing music, and I do my music show. It is different from anybody that does music shows anywhere, because I go from 3 or 4 different components or entities to bring songs to everybody. And it helps the cause a great deal. And I understand now why they like it, for sure. Tucker Barnhart, last hour, podcast 1075thefan.com. He doesn't have a lot of time here. We got to get him in. ESPN.com covers the Colts as we're counting down to the start of camp, the final one, Grand Park in Westfield, coming up at the end of this month. Stephen Holder joins us. I want to ask you a question.
Shoot.
Were you a big fan of the Ghetto Boys back in the day at all, or still maybe?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. That was a great era of music.
It was.
93-ish?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
The reason why I bring this up is I want to get him on the show. Scarface is playing this weekend. I think he and
Scarface.
Yes.
One of the most underrated rappers
ever.
That's what I'd say.
Mind
He has
playing
an
tricks on me.
discography.
The Mind Playing Tricks on Me song is so incredibly unique and never ever gets old. Never.
No, I agree with that. And I mean, if you were around when that song came out, it was like unavoidable.
Yeah.
Completely unavoidable. It was playing all the time. So, yeah, I think you and I are close in age. So, fortunately or unfortunately, whatever. So I remember that era well, man. No, so Scarface, I'm telling you, if you have any desire or any liking of like the whole like Texas rap scene, even though he doesn't even live in Texas anymore. But the point is, if you like that stuff at all, or even if you don't, even the West Coast has got a little West Coast flavor to some of his stuff. You should explore his discography. That's what I'd say.
Well, he is in town coming up this weekend. He and Montel Jordan, I think, are together. They're playing the White Party that's going on down at the convention center for the IBE celebration, which is awesome. And I'm trying my damnedest to get him on the show because we're about the same age, if not the same age. And it has been his existence in music has been so significant. But Stephen, honestly, sometimes I think what he has done and what that group accomplished gets lost in the shuffle of everybody else, and it shouldn't.
Yeah, I think it's one of the downsides, I think, of coming out around that time. I mean, you think about who their contemporaries were, right? There's so many great groups, because there were groups and solos right back then, there were a million of them, and a lot of them have had a lot of staying power, some more than others, But, I mean, they're contemporaries that they were competing with. I mean, they were some heavy hitters, man. So it stands to reason. But I do think he should get his flowers. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. No, it'd be fan. I'd love to have him on too. But, last year, Halloween fell on the weekend. Me and the Ghetto Boys trick. You're talking about some great lyrics right there. Yeah, taking kids' bags. Yeah. That's awesome. It really is.
Right.
All right, so you don't have a lot of time here with me. You don't have a lot of time in preparation for the final Colts activity up at Grand Park in Westfield for training camp. I saw where ESPN, and I don't know if you were a part of this as well, they went to executive coaches and scouts, and then you get the top 10 quarterbacks. And we do notice, right, we note that the first 2 weeks of the season, 2 top fivers, or what the Colts get, which to me, the Latu experience has to finally live up to the words and the expectations of Chris Ballard. And not just in this year entirely, but at the start of the season especially, he has to be more, and I mean significantly more than he's ever been. And the time is now, especially at the start of this season.
So the good news, now I'm not about to tell you that Chris Ballard has a good track record on drafting defensive ends. It's awful, right? But I would say this. I think that Latu is on the trajectory to be the best. Now, he should be. He was a first-round pick, maybe the highest pick of all of them, actually. So that's to be expected. But I do think he is on that trajectory. I think if you look at, even if you just look at the sack numbers, which is not really the best way, but if you just look at the sack numbers, his rookie season, he went from, 4 sacks, 8.5 last year. He doubled up. I'm not telling you he's about to go double up again and get 16, but you're seeing the progression. And I do think that this year, if he gets that secondary behind him in a good place, that could be the difference. I thought last year, for all the talk about having Mooney, Ward, and Cam Bynum back there, the truth is Ward didn't play a lot. And then Sauce gets here, and he didn't play a lot. So we've not seen this secondary in its totality, and there's a direct relationship between what they do on the back end and what Latu does up front, right? Now, the other part of that equation is the guy playing on the opposite end of him, whoever the hell that's going to be, and that is something that is a complete crapshoot right now, right? So that doesn't bode well for him, but the secondary helps a lot. The other variable for Latu making this jump is DeForest Buckner going to be there? And I don't want us to just gloss over that. Like, DeForest Buckner's coming off a very serious neck injury and surgery, and it's not a small thing. And he wasn't close when we got done with off-season work. So that is still a question for me. Like, when are we going to see DeForest Buckner?
If you had to fair a guess right now, do you think he's going to be ready for week 1?
I think he'll try. I think he definitely gives it a shot. If he gets cleared, which I don't know whether that's happened yet. That's the question. It hadn't happened as of the end of the offseason, which was maybe a month ago. But had he been getting closer? Yes. But the last time we talked to Buckner, which I think was around draft time, he was just getting back to like running. You know what I'm saying? That's disconcerting, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would guess. Yeah.
It's disconcerting. Like don't get me wrong, I think Alec Pierce is a concern too, but I mean, he's further ahead. And not as serious of an injury. He just had his surgery really late. That's a different conversation. Still a concern, but all I'm saying is not at the same level, So it's a big question, and I think it's one that we've kind of just we haven't talked a lot about it because we haven't heard from him. But I think that question has as much to do with their success as anything else. When that guy doesn't play, things don't go well. I know they've won games without him, but it's been a struggle. Okay, and we have to be honest about his importance to the defense.
Yeah, that's one too that I always bring Latu up just because of the lack of a consistent higher level pass rusher forever. And while you lean on the secondary and you hope that they have that playmaking ability, if you're without pressure, and you bring up Buckner, it's the same thing. If you're out without pressure up front, or if other teams are able to seamlessly run the football, really what you have at the back end doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately you are right. Like, regardless if Sauce Gardner's out there, Mooney Ward's out there, I don't care. If Mickey Mouse, I mean, at the end of the day, Latu has to perform. I mean, that is true. Those are variables, and that's why I mentioned them, right? All those other factors. Those have a direct relationship on how he plays and how effective he'll be. But independent of all of that, Latu has to be a guy. And he was drafted to be like a franchise pass rusher. I don't mean he has to be Myles Garrett, but he has to be an upper-level pass rusher. That's what he was drafted to be. He wasn't drafted to be like a rotational guy. He was drafted to be the guy who keeps the other offensive coordinator up at night. That's what he has to be, period.
Is Allen somebody you think is going to be seamless in what he's doing? And listen, everybody tired of Zaire Franklin. I don't think anybody really was sad when he ended up going, but he did provide sometimes, maybe more times than not, significant linebacker play, which was necessary for this defense. Taking that over here, what's your expectation, especially when you're handing over the keys to the rookie as they are?
Yeah, look, I think what you're trading with Franklin here is you're trading instincts and anticipation and, just experience and, being able to forecast what's going to happen. You're trading that for youth and speed and see ball, get ball, right? And so you're going to lose some things, but you're also going to gain some things. Is it an equal trade in the end, like the net result? I think that's going to be the question. As long as it's not a drop-off, then I think it's a good move, right? Because you get younger and he's going to grow and get better. And in time, he should be, maybe a young Zaire Franklin, right? That's what you're hoping for. I think that's going to be the question. Can he just prove to not be a drop-off initially? If he can do that, then this is a success for a rookie linebacker. And that's a lot to ask, right? Even though Franklin had certainly dropped off, asking the rookie to step in and have a seamless continuation, that is a fair amount to ask. But I do think he's capable of it, and his physical skill set says that he can make up a lot of ground just with that. So I'm interested to see if he can pull it off. But I'm optimistic. I'm certainly excited to see him. I mean, I think that's what we're wanting some playmaking there, and it's been a while since we've seen it.
Stephen,
so hopefully he can provide that.
I know you have to run here. I didn't want to get back to this as we started with it. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Matthew Stafford, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, the top 5 of the 10 NFL quarterbacks is ranked by coaches, executives, and scouts from your place, ESPN and ESPN.com. Do they overrate Josh Allen because of his lack of team championship results, or are you okay with that? And then when you look at the top 10, you add Prescott, Herbert, May, Goff, and Caleb Williams in that top 10. Is that something you would agree with?
So, all right. So the way this works, for those who don't know, so my colleague Jeremy Fowler, he does this every summer. He'll poll coaches, executives around the league, and rank the players based on their feedback. He's not giving you his opinion. He's giving you their opinion, right? And so here's what I interpret this to mean. I think these guys are saying that Josh Allen's the best quarterback, like just man against man. He's the guy who's the most unstoppable. I think Mahomes is the best winner, kind of like Brady, right? Was Brady the best quarterback, or was Manning the best quarterback in their day, right? It depends on who you ask. But I would say, like, if you had to win one game, right, there are a lot of people that would say, well, shoot, I want Tom Brady, just because he just figured out a way, right? Which is not to discount Peyton Manning. That's stupid, right? It's a coin flip. But all I'm saying is, I understand that logic. That's how I see this. I think Mahomes is a guy like, all right, if you got a big game, like you trust him to figure out a way. But Josh, physically and from just a pure quarterback standpoint, ability standpoint, he's the guy that scares you, I think, the most. I would say this though: if Joe Burrow ever was consistently healthy, he would be my number one. But he's never been consistently healthy, so it's a stupid conversation. But that's the guy who terrifies me the most. I think he has the most pure throwing. He has the best pure passer. Put it that way. Like his balls are the most beautiful footballs in football. But again, if you're not out there, who the hell cares, right? So I get it though. But it's certainly a hell of an interesting conversation though. The Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes debate.
It's Stephen Holder of ESPN on ESPN.com on the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. In not so distant future, you and I will be actually discussing something that we witness out in Grand Park at Westfield. That'll be something, huh?
Won't be long. Won't be long.
Now you look forward.
Are you looking last gaps here?
Are you looking forward to it, or do you go, man, I need a little bit more time to myself here? How do you view this?
I always say that. I always say, oh man, I'm not ready for football, and then I get out there and it's like, all right, let's go. So that's probably how the players feel in large part. They're like, I can't believe I got to go back to work. But then you get out there and it's like you get hit the first time and it's like, all right, let's roll. It's kind of like that. It's like, you get out there the first day of practice and I'm like, all right, they're popping a little bit. I'm like, let's put some pads on. And then they put the pads on and they get going, and then it's joint practice and it gets real. And then, and before you know it, man, like you're in it, so that's kind of how it goes for me too.
All right. Well, we'll talk at you next week. We'll get even closer to that too. Enjoy those final aspects of your summertime while you can. Okay, pal?
All right, you got it. Sitting here in sunny Florida, soaking up the last little bit of it.
Yeah, well, I'm sitting here in sunny downtown Indy. We got the same thing up here. Maybe even be a little bit hotter up here.
About the same weather.
Hey, go out and catch a python or something. They got a lot of those down there near you, don't they? They got a problem with those.
A couple. Iguanas too. I'll bring you a couple.
Thanks, pal. Appreciate it.
All right, brother.
Stephen Holder of ESPN on ESPN.com of the Andy Moore Automotive Group hotline. I'd mentioned that. It was all Raptors in the first quarter. 26-16 is how the first quarter ended. Role reversal in the second quarter. This is the Pacers Summer League against the Raptors going on right now. 27-18 so far. 2-minute mark of the second quarter. So if you put all that together, the Raptors 44-43 over the Pacers. Rink mass 13 in the first half. Braden's yet to scratch the scoring column. And Seth Lundy, I believe, is the guy leading the Raptors. Seth Lundy, he play at Penn State? Look that up really quick. We're going to, like random dudes we see on these Summer League teams, we're just going to look up.
He indeed played at Penn State.
There you go. We'll see how many we can get right out of this. I want to say my guy Tyreek Key, but he actually left. I want to say Tyreek Key left when Josh Schertz came in after Greg Lansing left Indiana State. You got 4 points.
Yeah, I don't think they overlapped.
They did not. Josh Schertz. Remember, I was all pissy about that for a moment, then found out Josh Schertz is one of the coolest dudes of all time. And it's okay for me to like both. All right, we have Garth Brooks tickets at some point. So, Nick, since you're in for James today, you can help make this decision. You want to do this on the text line or on the phones? Where would you feel most comfortable?
I would say the text line would be easier.
And we normally, I bet, because I go back to Morgan Wallen, we gave away those tickets, and we were going 40 deep at least. I went with number 40. You want to go with a high number? Unusually high number? But can you go with number 40 on this? Is that okay with you?
That's a lot of counting, but I think I can count that.
You can look. You can look okay with the counting.
Yeah.
Did what's the name of the guy at IU that taught you how to do stuff?
Galen Clavio.
Does he teach you how to count too down there?
Yeah, it takes a little bit, But we got there.
Did he take you guys to the upstairs when you graduated?
Yeah, there was actually Mike Wells, who I think is coming on the show later this week, maybe.
Is he really?
I
haven't.
so.
He's been MIA for like 2 months.
Yeah. We had a little outing there after I think it was during finals week, maybe before finals week. I don't remember. But yeah, we spent some time at upstairs, and I was thinking, man, I'm leaving the greatest place on earth, Bloomington, Indiana, and it stinks.
I do love it.
Yeah.
They got a lot of people sleeping in places I wish they didn't sleep.
Yeah.
You go down on South Walnut. I didn't realize. I wondered why all these people that sleep in that park and they just get up. They serve meals, I think, at the place next door right there is why. But, man, I was down there the other day, and I thought, man, there are a lot of people sleeping in this 2nd Street Park right here. What the hell's happening?
Yeah, that's about 2 minutes from my old apartment that I just moved out of on Friday.
Where'd you live?
So I lived at the Dillon, which is near Crescent Donut. There's a marathon near there.
Oh, you live over there? Yeah, that's where that is where the very first Subway in Bloomington was right there.
Okay.
Because that Village Pantry has been there forever.
Yeah.
But that was where the very first Subway was right over there. I was just actually down there last Thursday because there was a wreck on 446. So I went on the other side. I went up by Tri North and then went up on the hill and went over and went down and came out that way on 3rd Street.
It's good old classic lanes up there.
Classic lanes. Here's Western Skateland. Yeah. A lot of our bus trips went to Western Skateland from Greene County right there as well. All right, so we'll go deep, and we'll go number 40. I was going to ask you something regarding Bloomington for a moment, Upstairs Pub and Mike Wells, and it was going to be a good question, and I just completely forgot what I was going to ask you right there. We did an upstairs show back in November. It was outstanding. Not only did we have Don Fisher stop by, but the incredibly elusive Buck Sewer showed up and came on the show. He's elusive.
Yeah.
So's Eric, but Buck is even more elusive. And all of a sudden, I'm up there, and Don's on with me, and I see this dude pop his head around the corner because I think he was going to the study, or what's that place called inside?
Oh, man. I should know this.
It's like a speakeasy restaurant. It's right next to the upstairs there. But he rolled right in and made very elusive Buck Sewer made an appearance.
Don Fisher's son was my middle school baseball coach.
What?
Yeah, Scott Fisher.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea of that.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
We had a kid bring beef jerky to practice one day, and he didn't bring enough to share, and Scott made him run a lot of laps because of that.
My favorite people right there, let me tell you. I love Don and Susie Fisher. Maybe I'll remember. I had a really good question to ask you about. Is it TCOM down there? Is that what you call it, TCOM?
Well, the media school now.
It's the media school.
My dad tells me once upon a time it was the telecom building.
You do know that I go down and more than occasionally play pickup basketball at the Hyper around noon. There's a group of older dudes that play at the Hyper during the school year. Now, the only problem is it's the biggest pain in the ass in the world to park someplace.
Yeah.
So I have to circle around and wait till somebody leaves so I can pull in and park someplace.
My proudest achievement is I made it 4 years at IU without getting one parking ticket.
Oh.
You just got to be smart.
Evidently, I get a parking ticket wherever. I got one last week. And then I owe $150 from Broad Ripple in November, evidently, too. I'm just learning all this. And I will say, if you looked up my Monroe County license plate and Greene County license plate of the past, I guarantee you, because that's back at the Hyper, they used to put these just little carbon copy like tickets on your windshield. And I would just come out and pick it off my windshield, throw it on the ground. And I have 100 of those things. So there's no way I could ever enroll. Like, if my daughter goes to IU, I may end up owing a lot of money, even before she starts. All right, quick break. We'll come back. Garth Brooks tickets. We'll give you a chance to win those on the text line coming up before the top of the hour. Stephen Holder, Tucker Barnhart. That is Nick over there, the podcast with our guests. You can be a part of the show at 239-1070. The text line, too, at 317-239-1070. A pair of road shows coming up and a first-timer in the mix on a Tavern Tour stop later on this week. I'll tell you when, I'll tell you where, and your chance at Garth Brooks tickets coming up too. It's 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. Let's get you weather updated from Chris Wright of CBS 4. Cool, crisp, clean water. Well, if you need it warm, it can be warm too. But I'm talking about the best water possible. That is, my friend Joe will help you with that from Connecticut. Connecticut Water is back on the show. Connecticut Water has been with me for a number of years. As I always tell you, if Connecticut can do something elite with my water, it can absolutely do you, and you will love it. Seriously, I live on a well in Morgan County. Can you imagine how hard a work it is to give me the clean and crisp water that Connecticut does? Think of what they can do for you. Get them over to your place, Connecticut.com, have them test your water, and then they will build your very own, unique to you and your location, Connecticut water system. No generic parts. Everything is real and suited for you and your home. Joe will help you out, but the first thing you have to do is get that free initial test. Tell them I sent you today. That's Connecticut.com. One more time, sign up online right now, Connecticut.com.
The Ride with JMV.
If peeing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Oh, man. Somebody get Scarface on this show later on this week. Oh. Now, do you know the song before I mention it? Have you heard the Ghetto Boys before?
Yeah, this song, I believe, maybe I heard it in a Grand Theft Auto DLC or something like that.
Oh, there you go.
And I was thinking, ooh,
there,
I like this.
There you go, right there. See, I think the younger generation oftentimes introduced to older generational songs by virtue of video games, right?
Yeah.
You a Grand Theft Auto person back in the day?
Yeah, GTA 5, I got it during COVID because it was free somewhere, and, well, I play on PC, so I don't think I'm getting Grand Theft Auto 6 for about 100 years. But, yeah, the GTA soundtrack has some really good songs on it.
The Mind Playing Tricks on Me, that's a 91 classic from the Ghetto Boys, the album We Can't Be Stopped. I think Bushwick Bill passed away back in 2019, something like that. But along with Willie D and the aforementioned Scarface, one of the best hip-hop songs of all time. It's a gangster dealing with symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder, paranoia, suicidal tendencies, loneliness, and it samples Hung Up on My Baby. That's what you heard right there by Isaac Hayes from the 74 film Tough Guys. Just classic stuff right there. And I mentioned Scarface and Montel Jordan play the White Party coming up on Saturday night at the 500 room in the Convention Center as a part of IBE and the Summer Celebration. So Jake just asked me if I was trying to get Willie D on. I was trying to get Scarface on. I was trying to get Willie D on before. Willie D, I think, is friends with our friend Charles Arbuckle, who was also from Houston as a part of the Colts radio network. But no, Scarface. I would do Willie D, but Scarface makes more sense considering Scarface is coming in town this weekend. That should be fun. But the Ghetto Boys Classic, and I love the fact that you get introduced to old school music like that through video games. This is from Anthony, JMV. You and Stephen Holder, a shout out to the Ghetto Boys and Scarface. They put H-Town on the hip-hop map back in the day, no doubt. Thought he had cane, but it was gold medal flour. Yeah. That's outstanding right there. Hey, JMV, I agree with you regarding the Fever, too. It almost seems like whenever they win, it's always about what Caitlin Clark didn't do at the highest of levels, and that matters more than winning. Don't be infiltrated by ridiculous nerdery thoughts. Nah. That's like fanboy or fangirlism stuff to the highest degree. You get on the map of greatness by winning is what you do. Well, last night was the best game I'd seen them play. Certainly their most dominating performance against a good team. And it kind of makes you wonder if maybe things are getting on track. And believe me, enough is not made about how good Kelsey Mitchell has been, too. Should make more out of that. Aaliyah Boston, awesome, especially in the second half. That is more like it. I mentioned a little bit earlier, too, I have two shows later on this week. Thursday is going to be me, Brent Halverson, and Tony Renz. We're going to be, for the first time ever, at Moran's Bar and Grill in Anderson. And I've heard really good stories about it. People in Madison County, they rave about Moran's Bar and Grill. So for the first time, this show with Evan Williams and a tavern tour stop, Moran's Bar and Grill in Anderson on Thursday. So if you're in and around Madison County or around Anderson and you want to stop by, we would love to have you there. That will be a first-timer. Cannot wait. Thursday, me, Brent Holverson, and Tony Renz coming at you. JMV. I didn't realize Nate Biddle was actually a former McDonald's All-American. He looks like he was a McDonald's All-American in 1985. But yeah. JMV, today is the 47th anniversary of Disco Demolition Night at Comiskey Park. The Sox had to forfeit the second game of a doubleheader due to the field being torn up by fans. I have never understood this, even at the time. And I realize that this was all a radio promotion. But I'd never realized why disco was so incredibly hated. I kind of get it a little bit. But if you remember, this started with Steve Dahl, Chicago disc jockey, and just spiraled out of control. But I've always said this regarding like Disco Demolition Night. It kind of ended disco in that era altogether. I don't think it was much this as it was just how much you heard the Bee Gees. I'm a tremendous fan of the Bee Gees. But if you remember during that time, you had radio, and that's all you had. That should be the way that it is right now, but you had radio back then, and that's all you had. So if you're listening to your favorite radio station, and it's a pop music station, or if you wanted to, generate interest in what was popular in the day, the Bee Gees probably, or somebody from the Bee Gees, would be like in every other song. Whether it was Barry and Robin and Morris of the Bee Gees, or it was Barry Gibb in a duet, or if it were the Bee Gees backing up Samantha Sang, or if it were Andy Gibb, you probably heard a Gibb in about every other song on the radio for the better part of a 2 to 3 year period. So it was that, and then the right time to pull off something as Steve Dahl did on this date back in 1979. And then the notoriety that came with a Major League Baseball team having to forfeit the second game of a doubleheader because the field was so torn up. They were blowing up disco albums. And by the way, if you look back on that, it wasn't all disco. There was a lot of R&B in there. So it's basically anything that had any rhythm whatsoever that was broad, and people were like blowing it up. But believe me, at that moment, it had more to do about the oversaturation of the Bee Gees and their voice and their songs than it was anything. And then, hell, you can blame all that on Saturday Night Fever. Incredible, though. This date in 1979, Disco Demolition Night at Comiskey Park. By the way, the other team that was involved in that game, the Detroit Tigers. Disco Demolition Night. JMV, with Adam Silver chiming in finally about the WNBA, I'm surprised he didn't get rid of Engelbert on the spot. Believe me, the WNBA, they have to have such a major reevaluation of what they do. And I would look at the teams for what they do as well. The Fever has had issues. And you're going to say, well, yeah, it's the coach. No, it's not the coach. It's been the players on the floor with the results. When you see them getting better, that's exactly how you want to see them play. But it's just the way things are handled is so incredibly discombobulated. and it makes everybody look bad. You didn't have to look bad if you're the commissioner of the WNBA. It's Dan Patrick you're going on with. It's not some big jackass. You agree to it, and then you bail on it, and you're basically, across the practice green from the show, just an incredibly bad look. Is Bob on hold for us right here? Line 2 at 239-1070. Let's get Bob before the break here. Bob, welcome to the show. How are you, pal?
Hey, John. How are you, bud?
Bob, I'm great. Go ahead.
Hey, you disappointed me a little bit. You mentioned all about the fever last night. You didn't say a whole lot about Sophie.
No, I guess I shouldn't. Well, you can go ahead. Feel free to do it.
She was on fire last night. If I'm correct, she was like 6 or 7 from 3-point line last night.
Nah, she was really good. There's no question about that.
She was on fire.
Well, and I'm glad you brought it up because she was. I think 5 or 6 3-pointers is what she hit. I just thought it was the overall dominant performance, and to me more than anything else, Bob, it was this team bouncing back and how disappointing they were in LA, but how good they looked in really in different situations closing out teams that have been issues before. That's what stood out to me. And, what they did last night in a dominant performance was, to me, their best of the season.
I totally agree with you, John. And on their floor, that's what's even more impressive.
Yeah, no question. Yep. Bob, anything else?
That's it, buddy.
Bob wanted to get into the Sophie Cunningham conversation right there. Hey, quick one. Other side, Garth Brooks. They're already open right now. You guys are already chiming in on them. We're going to get, I'll tell you, I'll give you the cue to start firing away the text. Garth Brooks tickets all week long. 2 shows coming up in August. Cambridge Fieldhouse. Got your chance to win. That is coming up here before the end of the show. John B. adds this: Pat Underwood from Kokomo was the Tigers starter on Disco Demolition Night. Yeah, it had everything to do about the oversaturation of the Bee Gees than it did anything else. Because back then, that's all that you heard. Kelsey Mitchell, game high 27, and Sophie Cunningham did look good firing in threes. A dominant performance, to say the least, last night in Vegas. And the Fever back at it at home coming up later on this week. Tell you when and where and how you can join us before the game coming up on Friday. 93.5, 107.5 The Fan. Hey, it's John here for Love Heating and Air. That's love-hvac.com. Today, you start right here. We're going to go through another hot and humid. We've got later on this week 95-plus degree temperatures. Let's make sure right now that your system is running smoothly and get it checked today. Give Kendra a call. She'll answer and then set you up with elite-level technicians like Rana, 317-353-2141. It's love-hvac.com. That's Love Heating and Air, a Ohio dealer to the rescue today to make sure your system working efficiently, your cool and comfort in your home is not compromised. Things are working the way that they should. That's Love Heating and Air, Ohio dealer today. By the way, if you need a repair, mention my name. They're going to give you $144 off the service fee. $144 off the service fee of a repair if you need it. From Love Heating and Air, Ohio dealer. 317-353-2141 online, love-hvac.com today.
The Ride with JMV.
Have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah, but they were all bad.
93.5 and 107.5. The Fan.
Garth Brooks. You want to do number 40 on the text line right here? Garth Brooks. 2 shows coming up in August at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Garth Brooks, number 40 at 317-239-1070. Start right now. And Nick will get you hooked up. Number 40, 317-239-1070. I've just seen this. It was passed along by BT and our good friends BT and J-Law. And Jeff Rabjohns had it, that longtime and distinguished member, these are the words of Jeff Rabjohns in his ex-post, distinguished member of the IU Radio Network, Joe Smith, has, according to Jeff Rabjohns, passed away. This also, according to Jeff Smith, on the IU Radio Network for nearly 40 years, was a Bloomington radio man for more than 50 years, covered thousands of events, high school and college, numerous awards, and just an overall great dude and so memorable with so many moments. R.I.P. Joe Smith is synonymous with high school athletics in Bloomington North and South and Edgewood, Monroe County, the shack by the track. I should say the tracks, the train tracks down there. Did you know Joe at all?
Yeah, I anchored a show on Bloomington's Voice, WGCL, and Joe worked there as well. So I was familiar with him.
R.I.P. Again, from Jeff Rabjohns. Joe Smith, longtime and distinguished member of the IU Radio Network, has passed away. Sad news to end this show today. Hey, Nick, fantastic job out of you. You're back with me again tomorrow, right?
That is correct.
It's Nick over there. Thank you, Nick. He's going to track down a winner for the Garth Brooks tickets. We got more to come on tomorrow's show. Home Run Derby later on tonight. We'll find something to talk about, I'm sure, coming up at 3 o'clock tomorrow. You guys, have a great night. And again, thank you for listening. 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan.